All righty, we are live. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Welcome to another daily devotion. How have y'all Monday been so far? I'm tired. I'll be honest, I am tired. It's been a busy weekend and I'm tired. Tired. I haven't gotten any sleep like that over the weekend because I've been busy. Busy. Just out. Saturday we had date night, couples date night, and we went bowling. And then Sunday I went to church, and then we went to family house, and then get home late. So I'm just tired, but it's okay because we still gonna do daily devotion. And today's topic on daily devotion is give God all the glory. Give God all the glory, and it's coming from Revelations 4th chapter, 10th verse. As y'all come on, y'all like my live over here on TikTok. Like my live. Let's stay a while. Y'all never know. I may say something that you may need or somebody else you may need. Share my live on YouTube. Like my live. Subscribe. The 24 elders fall down before him and cast their crowns before the throne. When we try to impress people we consider to be important, we become trophy collectors. I'm more important because I know this famous person. It's how our thinking goes. And all kinds of objects can become trophies. Our grades in school, the houses we live in, the people we have impressed, our looks, clothing brands, compliments, and promotions. There are even websites you can visit to look for a trophy wife. A woman whose beauty is a tribute to her husband's wealth and influence. A trophy is anything you own that causes other people to look at you and say, wow. But living for trophies leave you empty, unhappy, and tired. They bring a momentary happiness that can be addictive, but the enjoyment always dwindles. It's notable that in heaven, when images like crowns are used, instead of wearing them, people are casting them at their Lord's feet. When you give the triumph, the admiration, and honor away, they bring you joy. When you collect them, they dull, fade, and become a burden. That's why the Bible says the 24 elders fall down before him who sits on the throne and worship him who lives forever, and cast their crowns before the throne, saying, you are worthy, O Lord, to receive glory and honor and power. For you created all things, and by your will they exist and were created. Anything good you have, anything good you are, and anything good you will receive in the future all come from God. So be sure to give God all the glory. I think we spoke about something like this a few weeks back. It might have been in our last book. It was talking about giving God all the glory, because we live in a society where people like to take credit for everything and don't like to give God credit for anything. And so sometimes we get accustomed to not giving him the glory and taking the glory for ourselves. And we love to say, I. And I believe in that particular daily devotion, God said, I'm the one who gave you the idea for your business. I'm the one who gave you the connections to make in that business deal. But we take all the credit for it. We don't give him the credit because we like to say what we do, and we want people to give us the oohs and the ahs and the wows and the claps, and we want the standing ovation, and we want all the credit. But we know we really can't handle all the praise because it eventually goes to our head, and we lose sight of what our purpose is. We lose sight of why God gave us the talent. We lose sight of what it is that we're really supposed to be doing here on earth. That is something that I pray that I don't do because I'm new in this purpose that I have. I'm new to coming live with y'all. I mean, I've been doing it for a couple months, but I'm new to coming on here and talking to y'all about and doing what the Lord has called me to do. Some of you may know, some of you may not know. I have a ministry called, hey cousin, how you doing? I have a ministry called Grieving Gracefully. And that ministry was birthed from me losing my oldest child 2 years ago who unalived himself. And it was birthed because of the way that I grieved. I thought I was just living life after I lost my child. Not necessarily like just, out there like that, but I thought I was just going to God because it was a time in my life like God is all I know. So I didn't turn my back on God. I didn't shun God. I didn't do any of those things because he's all I know. So I went to him. Like instead of me talking to my family about like what I was going through, I just went to God. That was, I don't know, that was just what I did, right? And so people started coming to me and like, you're so strong. How do you do it? And I'm like, I'm strong. Because me, I'm seeing myself home falling into depression. But when I talk to people, they can't tell. They see me talking like I'm talking to y'all now. Me, I'm seeing myself falling into depression, not cooking. It took me almost a year to get up and start cooking for my family again. Like we ate out so much. We ate out so much when we lost our oldest son because I stopped cooking. Like I wouldn't cook at all. Um, and then like his favorite meals, my son's favorite meals, like it took me over a year to start cooking something as simple as tacos. I stopped cooking that. Oh my goodness. I think I recently started cooking tacos again because every Tuesday, um, we was doing Taco Tuesday because he always wanted tacos. So I made sure that I had tacos in the house, and I was starting to teach him how to cook the tacos. He was 18 at the time and he unalived himself. So going through this and losing a child, I could only give all glory to God. Because I tell people, I'm like, the strength that y'all tell me that I have, I don't see it because I see myself falling apart in the house. I see myself, even though I go to God, I'm talking to God, I'm praying, I'm worshiping, I still see myself falling apart. But people see when I talk about my story and I tell my story, even though I don't necessarily cry or break down while I'm going through it or while I'm telling y'all my story, it still was a process for me. And I tell people, I'm like, I take no credit for what you see. I take no credit for how I sound, how I speak, the strength that you see in me. I get no credit. I give all credit to the Lord because immediately when my son unalived himself, immediately God gave me a strength immediately. Like I can't we are home when my son did this. My son got in trouble with the law, and the police came to the door to come and pick him up. I didn't know he got in trouble. He already got in trouble on my birthday for the first time with the law, and we let him sit in jail for a week. I didn't know after we had got him out, after we let him sit for a week, that he had got in trouble again with the same friend. I didn't know that. So when they came back to our house looking for him again, I'm looking at them crazy, and I'm trying to figure out why they're at my house. And while I'm talking to them, my son walked to his room and he unalived himself. Because unbeknownst to me, he had already told his friends he was not going back to jail. And I didn't know that. So can you imagine? I'm home with the kids at the time. My husband wasn't home. And I'm having to, now mind you, I'm outside freaking out at this time. Because I went to his room when when they told me, okay, while I'm talking to the officer, one of the officers, because they had my house surrounded at this time, one of the officers that was on the ground said, "Was that a pew pew shot?" And I was like, "Pew pew, what?" So I took off to my son's room, and by the time I got there, he was already gone. He was laying on the floor, eyes open, looking at me. So I came back. I ran outside. They tell us to get out, get out, get out, get out. And I'm outside, I'm freaking out or whatever, because I'm home with the little kids at the time. Our daughter was 5 and our baby was 2. And so I'm having to, like, once the officer, one of the officers came to me, like, who can you call? Because, I'm freaking out and I got the 2 little, it's winter time. It's a week after his 18th birthday. It's December 28th, 2022 when this happened. He had just turned 18, December 21st, 2022. And so he was like, who can you call? And I'm like, call who? Wait, like what? So then I had to come to myself, and then I had to go off of memory and call everybody. So I had to call his dad, because my husband is not his dad. My husband is his bonus dad. So I had to call his dad, who lived like 2 minutes up the street from us. I had to call my mom. I had to call my husband and tell my husband to come home. Like, I had to call my immediate family that I could think of to get here, so that I can tell them that my oldest child just unalived himself. So I know the strength that I had to even deal with this all came from God. And I tell people continually that I always will give him all the glory, because there's no way as a parent, the grace that he has given me. I love you too, cousin. Hey, Letitia, how you doing? There's no way I'm able to talk to y'all, give y'all my testimony without the strength that the Lord has put me in. I tell people that he has wrapped me in his peace. He got me in his hand, and I'm in that perfect peace. If you've never been in God's perfect peace, y'all just don't understand. I can't even explain the feeling of it. But I knew, in order for me to continue, yeah, you can't explain it. In order for me to continue in his perfect peace, in order for me to talk to y'all the way that I do, I had to give everything I had to God. Like, I had to give him everything. I had to give him all my hurt. I had to give him all my anger. I had to give him everything. And I didn't know that while I was giving him everything, that he was starting to mold me into the woman that y'all see here today. Now, mind you, before this happened, I was not on the internet talking about the Lord like this. I'm not saying I wasn't saved, because I was. I'm just saying that that's not what I was using my platform for. I'm not saying I cuss, because I was never a cursor. Yes, sir. Go ahead. I never was a cursor, because I asked God to take that out of my mouth when I had my oldest son, because I never wanted to be a parent that curse at their children. Yes, preach. All doors closed to straight path. Yes. So it's like I I had to give him everything. And in me giving him everything, I wanted to like hang with my friends, because that's one of the things my son always told me, because he's like, you're always in the house. Because mind you, I fought postpartum depression before my son unalived himself, because I had just had a little one, and I was just coming over and getting past postpartum depression. And then to go through that, and then to lose a child right after that. I don't think too many people know that I was fighting postpartum depression for a year and a half. And then as soon as I got over it, then I lost my son. So I had to give God everything. And when I thought I was going to spend time with my friend, God decided to. He was like, nah, he gave me 6 months. Literally, he gave me 6 months to hang with my friends. And over the summer, right before our boat trip, he told me, yes, my mom did this. Right before a boat trip, he said, this is your last trip with your friends. And I was like, Lord, I thought I was about to be outside. Because, I guess hanging with my friends as well was helping me not think about my situation, helping me not think about my son and the loss that I went through. Because losing a child is a different kind of pain. It's a different type of grief. Like, I've lost a parent. I lost my dad when I was 4. But you see, I was 4. I was a kid. I didn't know nothing. You're a child and you lose somebody. It's like I learned to tuck my feelings and keep it moving. Anytime anybody passed away in my family, I grieve, for a couple weeks. I think about them throughout the year. I'm a cry or whatever. But then I tuck it, because I can't stay in those emotions, and I keep it moving. But with losing my child, I couldn't do that. It's like God wanted me to deal with the feelings and everything that came with it. And I ain't gonna lie, me and God went back and forth. We went back and forth, because I did not want to deal with those emotions, because I've never really dealt with previous losses, like the loss of my grandma, loss of close cousins, uncles, aunts. Like, I've never really thought through it, because I'm a thinker. Like, I never did that. But with my son, God made me sit in it, and I had to sit in it and go through it to birth my ministry, Grieving Gracefully, so that I can show y'all that there's another way to grieve. You don't got to shun God. You can give him all the glory, like the lesson says today. You can give him all the glory. Even though he don't answer your prayers the way you want him to, you can still give him all the glory and all the honor, in spite of what it looks like. Because in spite of me losing my firstborn child, I still gave God the glory. Because there's no way I can sit here and talk to y'all if I didn't. Like, I literally think I would be out of my mind right now if I didn't make the decision to give everything to God. I'm not saying it's easy, because it's not. This is It was not easy. It was not easy, y'all. I'm telling you, it was not easy. Especially when the first thing he wanted me to do was to forgive. So can you imagine your child? I'll be honest, now, this day, excuse me, I've learned that my child was living a double life. I don't know how many parents out there think like you feel like you know everything about your child, and you're like, no, my child, what did I know my child? Like, that was me, because I was the parent that snooped. I was the parent that went through cell phones. I was the parent when the teacher called me at school. He was in high school and I did a sit down. How many parents do y'all know when your child when the school having a problem with your child and you go sit in class like you did in elementary? I sat in his class in elementary when he act out, when he got in middle school and he started acting out, when he was in high school in ninth grade before the shutdown. I sat in class with him trying to figure out what is going on with my child. So I was the parent that was all up in everything. So to find out today, not today, but to find out after he passed away that my child was living a life that I had no idea he was doing. Like when when I found out what my son did for the police to come to my house, my jaw dropped. Because I'm like, that ain't even the child I raised. Like, then it's like things start to click and start to, like, I knew when he started pulling away, because when he started pulling away, I reached out to his guidance counselor at school and I told them that he would something is different. I don't know. I'm like, something is wrong. He doesn't want to play basketball. Something is wrong. Something is wrong. I can't put my finger on it, but something is wrong and I don't know what it is. I reached out to his basketball coaches because he was an AAU basketball player. He was a basketball star. If he had applied himself and if he was still here, my son would have been at a college playing basketball because he was just that good. But somewhere along the line, the devil got a hold of him. And I didn't know how strong of a hold that he had on my son. I would tell my son, I was like, I don't think you understand how much. I say, you got a purpose. And I said, the devil knows your purpose and he don't want you to walk into whatever that purpose is. I say, and you're letting him use you. I remember talking to my mama one day and I was like, Mom, I'm looking at my child. I'm looking at him. I'm talking to my child. Like, I'm looking my child in his face. I don't know if you ever felt like this talking to somebody. Like, I'm looking at my child and I'm talking to my child. I said, Mom, but that's not my child. I'm like, that's not my child. It's like I could feel that the devil had fully controlled over my child. I don't know if y'all ever felt that when y'all talking to somebody, but I felt it. And it was heavy. He had a psychiatrist too. Like, he was seeing a counselor for a year. I don't know what made him run to the streets. I have no idea. I have speculations. Of what I feel like. is the reason. But I don't know concretely why he ran and what he was doing in the street. Broke my heart because I never knew my child would do these things. Like, y'all, my child was raised in church since he was born. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, Pearlie. I didn't know I was going to come cry on the internet today. My child was raised in church. He was in the choir. He would go to Sunday school. My mom is the Sunday school teacher. She was my Sunday school teacher. She was his Sunday school teacher. And even though, like, my son, he started sneaking out of the house 2 years before this happened. But when he snuck out of the house, I'm thinking he going to basketball games. I lost my oldest son 3 months to a car accident. I know how you feel. I'm so sorry. So sorry for your loss. This is it's an unexplainable pain when you lose a child. He was sneaking out of the house, and I did not know that the things that he was doing. Y'all, how can I? When they came, I asked one of my husband's friends, I said, can you tell me why they were at my house? Why did they come looking for him? And y'all, they said he had 4 counts of attempted murder, using a firearm, doing a violent crime. And I'm like, my child did this? Like, the child I birthed left my house, did that, came back home, and still went to church with me on Sundays. Still went to church with me on Sundays. Then I found out that's what he was doing around town. And I'm like, what? I didn't know daily devotion was going to go here today. Y'all hear me? I did not know daily devotion was going to go here today. I don't know who needed to hear my story today. But when I heard what he did, it gave me a little clarity of why he unalived himself. Because the things that we was warning him about, like, I never knew what he was doing. Like, the Lord would wake me up whenever he snuck out of the house, but I still didn't know. I'm thinking he going to basketball games with his friends, and stuff like that. Never that I thought he was out there committing crimes. And so I didn't think that my child would be like that or do that or do any of these things. And I tell people all the time, just because my story ended the way it did doesn't mean that your story will end this way. Keep being nosy. Keep checking for your kids. Don't give up on your kids. Don't give up. I know it's hard. I know you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, but keep searching. Keep looking. Keep praying. Hey, Miss Ella, how you doing? Because God will turn it around. Even though my situation ended the way it did, doesn't mean that God can't turn your situation around. Because he turned my situation around. It just wasn't the turnaround that I wanted. But I had to accept it and walk into it. I prayed and asked God for my son to have a complete turnaround, for him to come from doing whatever he was doing, and for him to have a testimony to tell the other young men in our community that you can turn your life around and you can give your life to Christ and go off to college. That's what I prayed for. But God gave me a different turnaround. God completely came back and got him and gave me the testimony. He gave me the testimony so that I can tell you my story, for you not to give up. And how did God turn my story around? My son unalived himself December 28th, 2022. God turned my situation around by me becoming a published author on December 28th, 2024. Can you imagine? He wanted me to release a book on the same day I lost my child. The day that I thought was the worst day of my life, God turned it around to be one of the best days of my life. Do y'all see me? He can turn it around. So don't think that what it looks like now, that it won't get better, because it will. It will get better. I know it's hard right now, but it's going to get better. He's going to turn it around. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. He's going to turn it around. This journal was the journal that God had me write for me to give the people what I did to get through losing my child. The steps that I took, I put in this journal for you all to use it to get through. I even say that if you want to, you may not have lost a child, but maybe you want a better relationship with God. If you want a better relationship with God and you want a stronger relationship with God, this journal will help you too. Because initially, all I was doing was getting close to God. That's all I did. I was giving him everything, every hurt, every pain. Everybody I thought hurt me. Everybody I thought hurt my son. Everybody who I thought didn't do enough to help my son. Like, the people who didn't tell me he was contemplating unaliving himself, I had to give it all to God because it was too much for me. And I put that in here for you all to use it so that you can get closer to God and so that you can heal. Because in this process, for the parents that has lost a child or anybody who lost a loved one, God will heal your broken heart because he healed mine. And he healed it in a weekend. You hear me? I asked him on a Friday while I was out of town, while I was at a Christian conference. I asked him on that Friday, and by the time I got home on that Sunday, God had healed my broken heart. So the pain that I was feeling because of the loss of my oldest child, God healed my broken heart. So if he can heal my heart, he can heal yours too. If he can turn my situation around for my good, he can do it to you too. Not only am I writing books, hey, Mr. Turntablist, not only did I write this, I'm now a speaker. I speak at events now. Hey, Tyrone, how you doing? I've been on podcasts telling my story. I have been on a Christian TV show telling my story. Did I ever think this would be my life? No, because I wanted to be a lawyer. I was working as a paralegal at the time when God told me to retire from my job. And I haven't worked on anybody's job in 5 years. So no matter what your situation looks like right now, God can turn it around. Go ahead. You're not supposed to. My bad. The youngest one taught me. So no matter what your situation looks like right now, God can turn it around. If he could turn one of the darkest moments in my life around, and now I have a ministry. Now I know what my purpose is. And my purpose is for me to come on here to give y'all some encouragement and let y'all know that he can turn it around for you too. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. I tell people I'm just a grieving mom, wife, blended family of 5 kids. He was one of our oldest. Well, because we had two oldest. We had 2 the same age. We just so happened to have kids at the same time. But our oldest were the same age and they were a couple weeks apart. And also how God turned it around. I got to say this to y'all. Because I don't be mentioning this part. I'm a grandma too. Our granddaughter was born the day after my son's birthday. She was about to come on his birthday, December 21st, 1 year after his passing. She was about to be born on the 21st, but she was born the 22nd of December. So you just see how God could turn it around? Even though I lost my son, he gave us a granddaughter. Even though I lost my son, now I get the chance to go around and tell my story to help other parents, help other people who are grieving, not give up. Trust God. Give God all the glory. Give him everything. Give him everything. It's too heavy for you. It's too heavy. It's too heavy. Don't hold on to it. He don't want you to have it. He wants you to give it. He wants you to give it to him. He's waiting on you. He's waiting on you. What are you waiting on? Give it to him. Give him everything, even the smallest thing that you think that he may not be concerned with. He wants it. Don't just give him the big things. Give him the little things too. That's one of the things that I'm learning about. I'm learning to give him every part of me, no matter what it is. No matter what it is. I thank you all for joining me for today's daily devotion. I go live Monday through Friday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on TikTok and on YouTube. Today's daily devotion was give God all the glory because he deserved it. My life wouldn't have turned around the way it did if I didn't. Who would have thought? I had 2 kids out of wedlock. I used to party and get drunk all the time. I went to school and did all the things that they tell me to do. I got 3 degrees. I got my associates in paralegal studies. I got my bachelor's in legal studies, and then I got my MBA. And I was going to go to school and be a lawyer too. After I got my MBA, I was going to go off to law school. But the Lord told me no. Because right around that time, I asked God what was my purpose. That was in 2019. In 2020, God told me to leave my job, and I left. Hey, Cynthia. In 2020, God told me to leave my job. At that time, well, he told me in 2019, but I thought I didn't hear him correctly. I thought I didn't hear him correctly. So I'm like, nah, the Lord ain't tell me. He ain't go. Where I'm gonna get my money from? So in 2020, he came back and he said it again. Now, mind you, this time he was like, oh, so you don't want to listen to me, huh? You don't want to listen to me? Okay. You know, they started whispers about COVID. March 2020 came, guess what? I was pregnant. He was like, oh, you don't want to leave your job? I'm about to make you leave your job. I was pregnant. The next day that I found out that I was pregnant, they shut the world down. I found out I was pregnant like, March 19th, and I think they shut the world down like March 20th. So I was like, oh, no, oh, for real, free. Oh, okay, that's you? Okay, I'm going to leave my job. I left my job July 1st, 2020, and I haven't worked for anybody since. And here we are, 2025. 2024, I walked into my purpose, where now I'm an author, I'm a public speaker, and I have a ministry called Grieving Gracefully. If y'all would like to purchase my book, you can click the link in my bio on YouTube and on TikTok. I resonate with your word today, confirmation of what I heard the Spirit say. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for finding me. I will follow y'all once I get off of here. I will follow y'all when I get off of here. But thank y'all for joining me. Give God all the glory. I give God all the glory, all the honor. Because of him, I am walking in my purpose. Because of him, he healed my broken heart after losing my child. Because of him, I'm talking to y'all today. Because I wasn't using my platform for this. I'm not saying I use it for negativity, but I just wasn't talking about this like that. But because of him, I have a platform to share my story and help other people don't give up. He'll turn it around for you too. That's my word for 2025, turning around. It's turning around for me. Sooner or later, it'll turn in my favor. Soon, it's turning around for me. Around for me. Around for me. Around for me. It's turning around for me. It won't always be like this. The Lord will perfect that concerning me. 'Cause sooner or later, it'll turn in my favor soon. All right, y'all. I'm about to go. Thank y'all for joining me. I'll be back here tomorrow for our daily devotion at 6:30. Tomorrow's topic is don't let a wall build up between you. I pray that you all were blessed by today's daily devotion. I pray that you all have an amazing night on purpose. I'll see y'all back at tomorrow. See y'all later. Bye bye. You wanna